I think it's safe to say that the Blazers need to make a move soon. There's been lots of tough losses I don't think I've seen many other tanking teams experience this many times in their tenure of rebuilding. It seems like the Blazers play way better with the young guys, the young cornerstones, the future hypothetical cornerstones, more than the veterans. And it's really tough to justify why the veterans are still on the team right now. I know how it is when you have veterans, you're trying to gouge as much value and assets out of teams so you make sure those trades are worth it in the long run. But I feel like the Blazers have waited too long to capitalize on the opportunities that have been presented in front of them for the veterans we do have, and I think it will bite us in the butt in the future. As much as I want Ayton gone immediately, I know how tough it can be for him to be moved in particular, because not too many teams need a big with as much usage as Ayton requires and wants on a team. And that's just the tough part of moving these different players around and seeing where they fit in on different teams. Because, for example, with Klingon going down with his injury, you have to keep Ayton for at least some amount of time, because Rob Will also is now in concussion protocol still. I don't even know how he's still in concussion protocol. But when you have those three bigs that are your rotation, and then you want to move Ayton, but then you have no bigs back up to at least hold down the fort till those bigs come back, it's kind of hard to move them, because you have to you kind of find justification in keeping them until those people get healthy, and then you may want to have another backup big in the future, and you don't know what exact target you're looking for when you get to that point. And for me, Ayton's effort and just his utility as a big man does not help us at all in what type of future we want to have to run this team. As you can see, he's just very lazy with his screens, and it doesn't seem like they get any type of usage, any type of open space for anybody to work with. And see, he got the offensive rebound there, and like you want your bigs to do that, but I feel like it's never, you don't want to be nitpicking with all these possessions, but it's never like a 50-50 ball where he's like trying his hardest. And there's been several instances with Ayton and his teammates where they just question his pride and his drive in the game, because it seems like it's never there. It seems like his head is never in it unless he's always getting fed the ball. He never wants to do the little things. He never wants to get his teammates his open looks. He never wants to get his teammates involved. He never wants to just do the dirty work, man. Just like the stuff that doesn't show up in the stat sheet. And you make over 30 mil a year, you would think that you would want to do some things like that. Like, I get you want to be the star maybe, but it's like we feed you, you still feel like it doesn't even contribute to winning. The defensive and offensive play was way more fluid when it was Klingon and Rob Will holding down the fort in the paint. You have Klingon playing and drop and just being able to roam around and just use his sheer mass just to deter and change shots at the rim and still fight for second chance points. Klingon literally had one game where he had 0 points and 19 rebounds. You will not see Ayton do some type of thing like that where it's like, okay, let me just make sure I get second chance opportunities for my teammates. Let me set hard, tough screens so my teammates can get off ball, open in space, and just move the rock as much as they can. And when I think about the type of team we are looking at in the future, we're moving towards just having a big that's a defensive anchor, or somebody that's just a utility guy that just does all the little things you need just to win basketball games. And I don't believe Ayton is that player. And then you look at Jerami Grant. You would think that after some two great years playing behind Dame, he would probably step up or even try to slot in a role where he's mentoring the young guys in trying to play winning type of basketball. But then you realize he's coming off a situation where he wasn't really winning in Detroit, where he was the number one guy, just having the shoulder of 20 shots a game and just having to just throw everything up for him. Now, I'm not as big on trading Jerami Grant so fast, because I do believe when we were down Ayton and Anthony, he did try to scale down his role, mostly due to some of his shots stopped falling. And I feel like he became more of a team player, just playing the type of defense that he's been improving on from year to year, and just being more involved of just being an outside shooter, just a catch and shoot guy, just an off-ball guy that didn't have to take all his shots in the mid-range. So I do believe he can play some winning type of basketball, but my only problem with him is just like, you're tall and you don't grab rebounds, you don't hustle on the boards, and it's like you need that as well along with the scoring. And now coming off a year where he had some career high averages in 3-point percentage and field goal percentage, it's like that was the peak of his value, and we didn't capitalize on that because we want 2 first-round picks. Who was giving 2 first-round picks for Jerami Grant? I'm sure as hell is not making that trade if I'm a team, but you would definitely not question that before. But I feel like we waited too long. I feel like a first round pick and some upside young guy, or even just some bench utility guy that can give us good positive minutes was a great thing to have, and we just said no and wanted to keep on and hold on to him, and now he's kind of becoming a cancer to the team. And then we have Rob Will, who's playing some of the greatest basketball I've seen from a big on our team in a while, along with Klingon. But I don't want to move him. I really want him to stay on our team, but he's playing so well, and there's so many teams that need a big like him that can rebound, play defense, hustle, and just know to create second. He sets great screens. He's active in the lanes. His hands are always moving. His feet are always moving. He's always trying to dive for loose balls, like get nitty gritty, like get physical. And teams love that. Teams would love to have a player like this. And I know he will get a first round pick from somebody, some team, but I don't want to move him. But when you think about the assets you gain back for moving such a great asset as him, you might want to take that chance, even though as a fan, you don't want to part with him. Because I see the duo, I see the future, I see the vision with the duo of him and Klingon leading the defense to greatness. Sometimes you just got to take it and hope that your team knows how to scout more guys, create more players in the culture of the defense that we're trying to run for the future. Because we've seen all these games. We've seen what they did to the Timberwolves. Timberwolves was a Western Conference appearance, even though they moved Cat. But they still got a defensive anchor, Rudy Gobert. They still got some hard, nitty-gritty players. But we still were able to compete with them. We were still almost able to out-physical them. We still we brought on the energy against them. Klingon led the way in the paint, anchored that defense with 8 blocks, sending everybody's stuff out of the way. You're not seeing Ayton dive for loose balls like that and fight with some heart. You saw the kids fighting with some heart, getting hyped. Like, this was a different type of Blazers basketball that I have not been used to watching. I think the veterans are killing the culture of defense that we're trying to run, the culture of pace, movement, speed that we're trying to run. And it sucks because it's really just hoop politics at the end of the day. You pay these players so much money, you're going to play it. There's no way you're going to sit somebody who's making 30 M's just because their heart is not in it, especially as a rebuilding team. And if other teams see it, other teams will be dumb enough to even trade for Ayton. Be dumb enough to trade for Jerami Grant, right now at least. I wouldn't say they'd be dumb enough to trade for Anthony because he's still a stroker. He's just not having that type of year. But hopefully we move some of these guys, man, because something has to shake. They are killing the culture. They are killing the vision we have for the future with this team. And I feel like they are not leading the kids into a direction where they're going to be a winning basketball team. They're going to be a hustling basketball team. And because those injuries happened, we got to see a glimpse of what the Blazers can show in the future. But if veterans stay around and keep them out of that mentality of being physical, hustling, and playing for second chance points and just playing basketball as it is, I don't see a future for us.